To Pete Hegseth now, co-host of Fox and Friends Weekend, with your takeaways from these races.
Well, there is absolutely no doubt, to the great rancor of every other news network and the Democrat Party, that Donald Trump remains the sun around which Republican Party politics orbit. How you adjust to the way he absolutely reoriented the Republican Party, and how you talk about his candidacy, his presidency, and post-presidency will impact how voters view you. And Nancy Mace, while she crossed Trump, never ran against Trump, still attempt to embrace him. In fact, filmed an ad outside of Trump Tower saying, hey, I support his America First policies. So she ran as Trump, even though she didn't have his endorsement. I think that race, Flores down in Texas, is immensely telling.
Absolutely.
That soundbite of that ad, which I had not seen until now, where she says, I'm the wife of a Border Patrol agent. When you consider the gambit Democrats have made with open border policies, hoping, believing they're importing future voters who will automatically vote for Democrats, that was always a racist assumption that because of your skin color, you're going to have a certain ideology. Now their policies are driving that voting bloc away in droves and into the arms of the guy who said he was going to build the wall and make Mexico pay for it. It's an irony the Democrats would have never seen coming, but Republicans have an amazing opportunity to deliver on quality of life issues, inflation, immigration, basic crime in your communities, which she spoke to, Trump spoke to from the beginning. Remember, no one else was talking law and order. No one else was talking build the wall. He reoriented the conversation there, and it continues to resonate.
Meanwhile, Pete, as I mentioned, Axios is reporting that Democrats are playing with fire in these GOP primaries. They are releasing ads boosting far-right Republican candidates over the more moderate ones, hoping that will give Democrats a better chance in the general elections. Here's just a few of those recent ads.
David Valadao claims he's Republican. Yet, David Valadao voted to impeach President Trump.
Hanks was rated one of the most conservative members in the State House. He says Joe Biden's election was a fraud.
Raths believes abortion should be banned, supports repealing Roe v. Wade, and Raths will vote with Trump Republicans to strip women's health care.
Democratic groups have spent more than $20 million so far, hoping that this tactic will pay off in November. It's a strategy the Hillary Clinton campaign used to elevate Donald Trump back in 2016. And as we know, Pete, that did not work.
When you're losing, you have a tendency to get cute, get creative about, okay, we know we can't win on the merits, so let's try to help elect someone that we in Washington, D.C. think is unelectable in said district or said state. When ultimately it's the people it's the candidates and the people who have the best pulse of what matters to them, obviously. They'll make that decision. And time again, the experts, including inside the Republican Party, say this is who's electable, this is who's not electable, which is usually code for this is a moderate we can control versus this is a bold conservative who's going to buck the establishment. The people have been voting on this side, and those candidates have been winning too, especially in this environment.
Doesn't seem like any lessons learned. Meanwhile, critics are accusing President Biden of flip-flopping. The White House has announced that it will visit Saudi Arabia. The president will next month. Oil at the top of the agenda as Americans are staring down a national average of $5.01 for a gallon of regular gasoline in this country. That's just the average. Biden, as a candidate, had promised to punish the country and treat the Saudis, quote, like the pariah they are. Many in the left are not happy.
I have mixed feelings on this, and if the president called me, I'd say, Mr. President, you can't trust these people. Their standards are not our standards. Their values are not ours.
You would tell him not to go?
Well, I would give him that counsel, but I understand why he's trying to balance this. And America is hopeful that he's successful in getting more oil into the pipelines so that we can reduce the price of gasoline and energy.
Imagine that. More oil, bring prices down. But the president's trip appears to have Senator Schumer's blessing.
This president, unlike the previous president, is not afraid to talk tough with foreign leaders. So I have every confidence that that President Biden will handle this very well.
The Wall Street Journal editorial board with this take, quote, while his trip makes strategic and economic sense, it would be less embarrassing now if Mr. Biden had been more realistic about the world from day one. Mr. Biden's right to try to patch up relations, even if it means offending his party's left. Where does Pete Hegseth stand?
Well, this is no strategy. You want strategy in leadership and foreign policy. This is reactionary, right? He went to war with our energy industry domestically. We've seen gas prices where you are, ultimately stifled domestic production. They say this trip has nothing to do with energy and oil. When you're saying your trip has nothing to do with the very thing it most obviously has to do with, you are completely adrift. They're going to go beg the Saudis for oil because they won't drill here or create an environment that's friendly to drilling. At the very least, and I don't like doing business with Saudi Arabia. I don't want to work with them, considering the values that they hold and the radicals they've harbored for decades. No one does. At least the Trump administration had a strategic reason why they were working with the Saudis through the Abraham Accords, the recognition of Israel, triangulation against Iran and Iranian bombs. They knew why they were working with Saudi Arabia while working to be energy independent from Saudi Arabia. This is no strategy and all the dependency. So, as always.
And as I look at oil prices, $117 a barrel. The war on cops, meanwhile, weigh in on that, where that's going to fall in the midterm elections real quick before I move on to your...
Absolutely. If it's not issue number one, it's getting there, considering the recalls of DAs who won't enforce the laws. When you don't feel safe, that's the first thing you're looking for.
And the first thing I'm looking for is your book, Battle for the American Mind, by Pete Hegseth. Tell us about it, Pete.
It's the hidden history that the progressives never wanted us to know because they write the textbooks. The reality is the way we bring back our K through 12 education is understanding the depth of our problem. That's the first step in recovery. So we lay out how progressives targeted the minds of our youngest kids over 100 years ago by removing God, by ultimately replacing it with allegiance to the state with some very familiar symbols our readers will be shocked by. And now it manifests in the craziness we see with gender pronouns with 8-year-olds and critical race theory. Hemingway once said, it happens gradually until it happens suddenly.
Right.
And what we're seeing now is that sudden eruption of leftism in the classroom. Our prayer is that the 5 chapters that are about the solution are what will resonate the most with people. This is not just a rah-rah, here's the problem of the left book. This is what we do as free citizens to save our republic by taking back our K through 12 classroom.
Our children are our future. It's an important topic. All right, we'll read the book. Pete, thank you.
Thank you, Sandra.
Hey, everyone. I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.